In this lesson, we're going to continue setting up our smoothing groups. Alright, so we need to continue setting up the smoothing groups for this. It's just very important that these are set up properly, so that way we can get some nice bakes whenever we get that ready. So smoothing groups are part of that baking process. So looking at this, it looks like these polygons right here, it looks like all of those could belong to the same smoothing group, technically. And so I'm going to come in, I'm going to select these, and I'm going to set these on smoothing group 1. Okay, and so that's what that's going to look like. Let's come along on the inside here, let's set these to smoothing group 2. Okay. And basically my rule of thumb whenever I'm setting up smoothing groups, if it's a hard edge, so if it comes in contact with another edge, it goes on a different smoothing group. So like right here, these are on smoothing group 1. This needs to be on smoothing group 2 because I've got a very hard edge right there. Okay. This is having a little bit of difficulty right here, so let's select these edges and do the same thing. So usually if it creates some sort of odd shading, you'll want to change that smoothing group. Okay, and try to fit that in a different way. And you need to look at all of the points that those polygons come in contact with. So for example, we're going to put these on smoothing group 2, but then on this side, we're going to set all these to smoothing group 1. And that will get rid of that odd shadow that we see up here. So set that to 1. And then we'll back away there, and you can see that it works pretty well from here, so it doesn't look really all that weird. Okay, so looking pretty good. Alright, now next we've got this point right here. That's a pretty sharp edge, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and we're going to do something just a little bit different. Let's set it to different smoothing group. So I think I want to set these to smoothing group 2. This is going to be set to smoothing group 1. And it looks like I forgot to take care of this edge. Let me target weld this to here. And oops. Let's see, where was that one? Do the same thing here, target weld here to here. Meant to optimize that, I guess I didn't. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at these polygons. And we're going to set this polygon. We need to pay attention to what it's connected to. So this is our smoothing group 1. We could set this to 2, but we want to check these polygons. So these are 2. So let's go ahead and set this to, and that's a 3. So let's set this to smoothing group 4. And then this comes in contact here, so that's 2. Let's set this to 1. And actually, let's set this to 1 all the way down. Okay. So that looks good. And then let's take care of this edge here. This we're going to set to smoothing group. Let's see, what was this? Smoothing group 2. So we'll set that to smoothing group 2. Now you'll notice that it creates kind of this odd shading here. This is on smoothing group 2 as well. Let's go ahead and set this to a different smoothing group. Let's set it to 4. See if that's okay. Okay, that's 1. That's 4. That's 1. Okay, good. So that's on smoothing group 2. Let's take this edge right, or this polygon, and let's check this out. We've got smoothing group 3, we've got smoothing group 2. So let's set this to smoothing group 5. Actually, we need to set it to smoothing group 2 as well. Because we want all of this to smooth out the same. So we'll do smoothing group 2 on that. And we'll take a look. That's smoothing group 3. I think that'll be okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's not affecting anything. Just take a look at its shading there. Nice flat surfaces. Yeah, it looks fine. We'll go ahead and we'll leave it there. Alright, so just about finished with this. Let's take these polygons and we're going to set these to smoothing group 3. Okay, that looks good. Set these to smoothing group. Let's do smoothing group 2. And then we'll take these and we'll put these on smoothing group 1. And clear it out if you have any that are empty. That means that the selection that you have multiple smoothing groups. We're going to set these to smoothing group 2. And then the barrel, of course, now that's going to start changing the dynamics of things a little bit. We'll need to set this to smoothing group 1. So I'll clear that, set that to 1. And you know what, actually let's do all of these too, because it gradually goes up into that other shape there. So okay, so there's that. Now it does create a little bit of weird shading right here, but we'll go ahead and we'll stay with that for right now. Alright, so everything else is looking good. Let's take a look at that. What is that smoothing group? That's a smoothing group. It doesn't have a smoothing group, okay. So this is smoothing group 1. Let's set these to smoothing group 1 as well. Okay, that's gonna bring that entire piece all together. That's going to be smoothing group 2. And actually I want these to be on smoothing group 1. So that way that barrel and all that comes together right here. Got a triangle here. And let's set that to smoothing group 1 as well. Okay. Alright, good. So that is there. Kind of looking at that, and I'm thinking maybe I might need to put in a supporting loop there, just to kind of get that to blend a little bit better, because I really don't know if I like the different smoothing groups right there. So looking at that, let me turn off 2 and then put all that on 1. See, that gives us a little bit of a odd shading right there. Yeah. Let's set that back to 2. Let's hit Control Z a couple of times. There we go. So that way we just get that flat edge there again with that. And then we'll come in here, we'll say this. All of these are on smoothing group 1. Okay. And even this underneath is going to be on smoothing group 1. Okay. Creates that nice smooth edge there. And then this can also be on smoothing group 1. But this we're going to set on smoothing group 2. So that way it creates kind of a flat edge there. Okay, good. Then let's take this polygon right here. going to take all of these surfaces right here, and I'm going to set those to a single smoothing group. And let's see, what was that smoothing group? Underneath there, 3. Okay, so that way it all comes together right there, and then we'll take this inside here, and we'll set this to smoothing group 1. That's on smoothing group 2. Very good. Let's set this to smoothing group 1 as well. Let's set this to 4. Set that to 1. Set this to 4. And then let's see, what was this one? That was on 1 as well. Okay, so hopefully you kind of see how we're setting these up. I apologize if it's a little confusing at all, because smoothing groups, sometimes they can be a little confusing. But now you can see that once we smooth it out, we can definitely tell where our hard edges are on our gun, and we can see those silhouettes. It doesn't look all, the shading looks decent. We could definitely tell how this is modeled, and so this is going to create a good silhouette for us on our game model whenever we get ready to bake all of this out. And it's also going to help us with the UVing portion. So don't give up on this part, because it's very, very important. All right, let's go ahead and set this to smoothing group 1 as well. Really quickly, I thought I was finished there, but I guess not. And then we need these smoothing groups here. Those are on 1. That's on 2. Okay, so that turned out great. And then we'll set these on smoothing group 2. All right, so there is our gun. Now, if you notice any weird shading, anything that looks torn up, like something like this, it doesn't quite look right, just come in and set up your smoothing groups to be something a little bit different. So we can take this. So if we don't like the way all of this looks, like this smoothing group, maybe it's just off because of this. So we can set this to like something like smoothing group 2. And then that starts to help that shading. We'll go across here and we'll say, all right, let's put these on smoothing group 1. That's fine. These are on smoothing group 1. That's fine. And then we have these here. These are on different smoothing groups, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to set it to smoothing group 3. And turn off that smoothing group 2, and we'll set that to smoothing group 3 so we get a nice hard surface there. And there we go. So our gun is looking really good now. We've got it all smoothed out. Now what I want to do in between lessons is I want you to go ahead and take care of the other pieces as well. I'm going to have those finished. I'm also going to go ahead and build in this piece that we forgot in the modeling portion. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use border mode. I'm going to cap it and then extrude it down in the local direction, and then I'll connect those pieces together. Okay, so in our next lesson, we'll have everything smoothed out and we'll start the UVing process.